بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد اللهم دبر لنا فإنا لا نحسن التدبير. O Allah, guide us on every step, for we are incompetent. We do not have the capacity. So ulama say that dua is a primary part of planning. One is tadbirullah, one is tadbirun nafs, where we activate through dua the unseen system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a priority and a focal point. And after that, as an individual, what should I do in my capacity so that I am prepared for whatever I am asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. For example, we ask Allah, Ya Allah, give me hidayat. Now what actions am I doing to show Allah that I am sincere? So Quran explains, we did this on the mudhakara of Quran, of the asbab of hidayat. But one is mujahada, sacrifice. So what sacrifice am I giving to show Allah that I am averse of this hidayah? So yudabbirul amr is the sifa from amongst the sifat and qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 4 places in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned it, and it is connected with risk and creation. So Ibn Atta has mentioned, Arih nafsaka min at-tadbir. Free yourself from planning. Means if you want to master the skill and the art of planning, then free yourself from that by giving it to somebody else, and you don't do it yourself. La taqum bihi anta li nafsika. And if you have to give it to somebody else, this ghayr, who this else is, wa huwa rabbuka subhanahu wa ta'ala. So hand it to someone else, and that is a greater being. So when we have husnul dhan and great expectations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are comforted, we are consoled by His planning and His accuracy and His yudabbirul amr, then definitely we should have yaqeen that there will be success, there will be greatness and positive result. And if we go back in history, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, and in their moments of difficulty, Allah salvaged the situation. Allah protected the Anbiya, whether it was Ibrahim alayhis salatu wassalam in the fire, whether it was Musa alayhis salam in the hands of Fir'aun, etc. So important is the twofold effort. The effort on mudabbirul amr, and secondly is tadbirun nafs, ourselves. And part of ibadah is planning for deen and preservation of deen. So everything else connected to that is directly proportionate to our desire and ambition for deen. So whether a person should be healthy, it is for deen. It's an amana, it's a trust. Part of deen is to look after your body, not to do anything that will be harmful to you. Whether it's the foods that you're eating, whether it is the environment that we are in. So everything that is beneficial for us, the ultimate objective will be deen. So our planning is for khair, not shar, good, not evil, preservation of deen and everything connected to that. So they say, if you want a future without a future, prepare for no future. So this preparation in itself is important and imperative, part of the amal of nubuwah, and this is part of our planning. is camel riding. So we did horse riding. Part of that, if Allah gives somebody tawfiq, is to ride a camel, even if it's a sport or for a year, at least once in our lifetime, to go mount a camel and ride a camel. So the riwayat of Anas radiallahu an, where Nabi alayhi salam had a she camel called Adba, and nobody ever won Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam in a race, in a camel race. So it so happened once a Bedouin came riding, and it had a camel which was less than 6 years of age. فَجَاءَ أَعْرَابِيٌّ عَلَى قَعُودٍ فَسَبَقَهَا. So this Bedouin raced with the Nabi of Allah and was victorious. فَشَقَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So Sahabah were distressed. The Nabi of Allah always won, but Allah in His hikmah, through the lives of Sahabah and Anbiya, have taught us lessons. So Nabi alayhi salam told Sahaba, حَقٌّ عَلَى اللَّهِ أَلَّا يَرْتَفِيَ شَيْءٌ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا وَضَعَهُ. It is the right of Allah, it's a sovereignty of Allah, it's the law of Allah, that He brings down whatever rises high in the world. So no matter how high you're going to go, there may be a time where a person will fall down. So preparation again, nothing will remain there. No situation will always be perfect. There'll be ease, there'll be difficulty, there'll be health, there'll be sickness, there'll be wealth, there'll be poverty, there'll be youth, there'll be old age, there'll be life, there'll be death. Then number 10, Mubaraza. So this is common in the battles before the war would wage. They would have a duel, a combat, a fight of the greatest warriors. So even in the battle of Badr, so when Mayubarizu, so they made Alan that who is ready to challenge us in a duel. So it was Utba, Shayba and his son Walid. They came forward. Then some Ansar came forward and he said, La nuridu hawla. We want specific duels. We want our family, we want our relatives, we want our acquaintances. Qum ya Ali, wa qum ya Hamza, wa qum ya Ubayda. So Nabi alayhi salam said, okay, Ali, Hamza, Ubayda radiyallahu anhum, get ready. And then the duel waged. So this mindset of challenging people and being one-on-one, and when you are in that situation, how to manage the situation, how to drop the person, how to protect yourself, if they have any apparatus, how to go offensive, how to go defensive, what's the different weaknesses. When a person is in a life-threatening situation, it can be a female walking in a gully and she's confronted by a stranger. How do you protect your honor? How do you protect your wealth? How do you protect your chastity? So all these forms of skill are very important, and it needs to be learned. So whether we challenging people, whether a person is wrestling, whether a person is learning self-defense, etc. Then number 10, which we did now, was Mubaraza. So challenging each other also is important, where we physically engage. Many people just learn the different skills, but they're not put in that situation where you have to challenge a person and put your skill to the test. So it's like people who go to the range as well and have a target and just shoot the target. But that scenario may be rare, illa mashallah. Number 11, archery. So archery is a skill and an emphasized sunnah as well. So all these are amal of nubuwah, and it's connected. Whether it's the bow and arrow, or connected to that skill, using your hands. If you can't use your hands, use a knife. If you can't use a knife, use a stick. So different instruments also to master the art and the skill in that. وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Prepare to meet your opponent with whatever energy, strength, potential, asbab, means that you have, that you can afford, that you can access, use it. أَلَا إِنَّ الْقُوَّةَ الرَّمِي. There is strength in archery, there is strength in archery. Nabi alayhi salam repeated this. أَلَا إِنَّ الْقُوَّةَ الرَّمِيُّ. Riwayat of Muslim Sharif. So Allama Qurtubi has mentioned that quwwah is not necessarily only sufficing with the bow, but everything else that is connected to that to overpower your opponent. So whether it is the catapult with your hand, whether it is using ammunition, different forms, because archery is you are at one point and you send in a projectile to another point. So all forms of projectiles, etc. Allama Qurtubi has opened the door. So need for your protection and preservation, it is important. When the systems go down, when there's the third world war, when the Dajjal has to come, when the Mahdi will appear, then those that were busy chewing gum and playing PlayStation, what soldiers can they become? In our air-conditioned homes and underfloor heating and air filters and advanced sanitizers and hot water showers. So all these luxuries will bring a person down. سَتُفْتَحُ عَلَيْكُمْ أَرْضٌ. That you will conquer many places. فَلَا يَعْجِزُ أَحَدُكُمْ أَيَّلْ وَبِأَسْهُمِهِ. Don't ever be negligent with regards to your bow. So with regards to the riwayat, Imam Nawawi has mentioned that it is mustab, it is advisable to become proficient in the skill. Qayyim rahimahullah has mentioned that there is a lot of adab and etiquettes in archery. Amongst them is that a person, like how he prepares for salah and he goes to the masjid, he goes for bayan, he goes for an ijtima, etc. A person must consider himself an abid, and he should consider like how you are in wudu. When you're going to the masjid, prepare wudu. Like you are making dhikr, make dhikr. Like how you're going to learn the knowledge of deen, Quran and Hadith. This is a knowledge. Amidan ila rawdatin min riyadil Jannah. You are going to amongst the gardens of Jannah. So all those adab that you maintain when you are a student or when you are a musalli, those same adab should be maintained for a person who is going to train for archery. So it is very meritorious, and a person shouldn't abandon the skill as well. Man alima ar-ramy thumma tarakahu falaysa minna. A person who learned the skill and then they become negligent. So you got some josh, you learned it and you forget it. No, continue, set a time, like your ma'mulat are for tilawat of Quran, for dhikr. These need to be part of our ma'mulat. Sometimes a situation happens, we get josh. The only place where our safety items are is in the safe. You don't even remember sometimes where you put it. So that shouldn't be the case. وَقَدْ أَصَّى. Now the riwayat, it is disobeyed Allah and His Rasul. Imam Nawawi has mentioned هذا تشديد عظيم في نسيان الرمي. That this is a severe warning for those people who have learned the skill and forget it. وَهُوَ مَكْرُوهٌ. It is makruh shadida liman tarakahu bil'udhrin, to leave it without any valid reason, because this is a means of preservation yourself. You are in a situation, there is a need, protect yourself, protect your family, protect your wealth. That is part of deen. Allamah Shokani has mentioned that this is an indication that نوعا من أنواع القتال, that from amongst the methodologies of striving in Allah's path, anything that will decrease your potential, كان آثما إثما شديدا, that you will be a sinner, like a person committing a guna, a person who leaves priority in giving importance to that effort that will preserve yourself, preserve your family, preserve your wealth, preserve deen, preserve the ummah. It's like you are abandoning deen. So very important to give priority to this year. Man ta'allama ar-ramy thumma nasiyahu, a person who learns archery and he forgets the skill, then fahiya ni'matun kafaraha, it's a bounty which Allah has bestowed upon you and you are ungrateful to that bounty. So it's simple. One way is, firstly we need to learn the art of skill of making bows, the skill of making arrows, the skill of how to, what rope to use, what string to use, how to tension it, etc. So, and it can be practiced by all ages, gender. There's no need for specific skills. You could expand the potential of the bow, etc. So it enhances the person's strength, their control, their coordination, their self-confidence. And unfortunately, we look in the world that everybody else has taken the skill besides the people of Iman. So the national federations, world archery federations, different affiliations of 160 countries of the world have taken this on. So the people of Iman also. Then we need to learn the different types of bows. It's a separate topic on its own. The recurve bow, and it's a very strong, it's a powerful, it's an efficient bow, and where the person makes it themselves with wood or modern technology, fiberglass, etc. But it can be used for hunting as well, and it's quite efficient. So somebody who starts in archery, they will go on a recurve bow. Then you get a takedown bow. So it's a type of a recurve bow, but the limbs can be detached, and whether it's made from fiberglass, wood, aluminium, carbon, etc. But it's a good hunting bow. It can be disassembled, it can be transported easily, it's cheap to maintain also. And takedown bows are used in Olympic archery. So we're saying they've taken on as a sport. What have the people of Iman have thought? Then the long bow, which is your traditional bow and the oldest bows in history. So compound bows are the modern day efficient bows. They move around 350 feet per second. You can get up to a speed of 350 feet per second. If you just want to understand it, then a 9mm round can propel up to, if you take 115 grain, you're looking at 1,000 feet per second to 1,200 feet per second. So you're almost half to one third of the speed of a bullet. So what makes the compound bow special is it's got cams, it's got pulleys, it's the modern day bow made from lighter materials, whether it's carbon, aluminium, magnesium, fiberglass, etc. It's very accurate. It can be shot at a longer range, and they even in the compound bows there's different types also. Single cam compound bow, you've got the dual cam, you've got the hybrid cam, you've got the binary compound bow, etc. The number 5 is the Umi Bow. So these are Japanese types of bows used in wood or bamboo, and they were used as weapons of war. Nowadays the modern Umi bows are made from fiberglass, carbon fiber, bamboo, and they are available as well. Then we get the Reflex Bow. So it's the curved arm which is facing the person, and you can draw it at a greater length. Then amongst the most advanced bows that you do get is your crossbow, from 300 to 500 feet per second, so half the speed of a bullet. And even in the early days, those days, many centuries ago, they were used as well, a good item for hunting as well, and very accurate as well. So it's a field on its own, the skill of making these bows, the skill of being proficient in it, etc. We need to learn it. The amal for today is to engage in ilm and the knowledge of deen. تعلم العلم فإن تعلمه لله خشية, because learning it is a means of achieving the fear of Allah. وطلبه عبادة, and learning it, acquiring it, is act of worship. ومذاكرته تسبيح, and to discuss it is a tasbih, it's a means of remembrance and dhikr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq of making amal. Wa akhiru dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.